So the heavy would be the martial, because you've got to put out the heavy hands. Gong Bao Jai and Yang Sao Chung, very heavy hands. Could you comment on the heavy first? What you experienced?
Thing is, I didn't recall people videoing that bit. I didn't recall us doing the circle walking and stuff like that. But I remember the physical. It was just overwhelming the amount of power or the amount of strength you had, and I was giving it everything. And when I watched that tape again yesterday, the thing that struck me was the fact that I broke out and laughed because the frustration was just so much that I must, it was just the frustration. And I just laughed, which is not cool and it's not respectful.
No.
But I just don't, it was frustrating for me that I knew I was giving everything I had. And I was trying, and it wasn't just going linear. I was trying to engage my brain. I was trying to lock your hands up and trap you and close in on you. And everything I did, it was like you knew what everything I was going to do before I did it.
Well, that's Dongjing.
You can see, it's just complete frustration going on there.
But that's Dongjing. You know, people talk about Tingjing all the time, listening energy. That's not real
Mm-hmm.
time. I didn't grow up with Tingjing. I grew up with Dongjing. Dongjing is understanding force. Tingjing is an intermediate phase of development called listening, where you can
Mm-hmm.
listen. You're able to listen. But to understand someone is much more profound than just to be able to listen to them, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah.
Your improvement can be expedited, accelerated, catalyzed by just becoming a person of superior intelligence. That's really the way it was in China. I was telling Steve, I'm trying to explain it. You asked how it showed their intelligence. Remember, all these great martial artists, they were people of extremely high intelligence. They were not average people. Anyone that you've heard, the legends you've heard of that have persistent attainment, they didn't reach a limit at age 50 and that's it. But they had the knowledge and the wisdom of how to keep things going when the average person doesn't keep going just from aging. That's the secret. That's the Shengren. There's nothing the Shengren doesn't know. We'll start with this. We'll review again. From human life, you have two tracks of learning, one yin, one yang. Yin is called scholarship, yang is called worship. This is classical Chinese. It's the bedrock of the Shengren teaching because it is the bedrock of traditional Chinese cultural thought. Do you notice how this is not woo woo, cosmic, spiritual alchemy? That's what makes us the Shengren. These other teachings that go into alchemy, cosmic, and all that, they're called Bear Pie. They're outside teachings. They're not the pipeline teaching of Chinese culture. So in Wen scholarship, it descends to Neishu, inner cultivation. And the Wu goes to Wai Lian, outer training. This is what Shengren One's about, basically. This is where we are in general. We have some of this, of course. And then, but the inner cultivation develops Zhi, which is self knowledge, personal wisdom. And the training external leads to Neng, which means capability. It means skills, capability, technical expertise. That's what you want. That's what Steve wants. But what, Steve, I want you to remember is that how you this has improved in you is because this has improved in you, the personal knowledge from the Tong Bi. That's what by law of attraction has got you all the new career and relationships. Not just this, right?
Yes,
Not
sir.
just
Well,
physical
yeah,
training.
but that's what's happened, hasn't it? I've been searching the right hand column, and I've been overwhelmed by the left hand column.
Mm.
Is this the
I
left?
think you've sneaked the left-hand column in, Mike. I think we all signed up for the right hand, and suddenly the left hand's come in.
I must say that you're probably correct with that. But here's the point. Now that you're verifying, now that I sort of got you in the door and it's working in your life,
Yeah, yeah.
no, it's things have changed.
Mm.
This becomes your teaching. You see? That's what's so powerful about this. When you have undeniable change in your life and those physical feats that you've accomplished at age 60, Steve, is because you've made this 70% of your emphasis, your focus in life.
And this is not what I signed up for. I want cheap power, Preston. I want cheap power. I didn't sign up for any of this.
And you're going to get that in spades more than you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
You
But I
will
didn't
get it.
sign up for my whole life to be changed like this so dramatically. I signed up for martial arts and my whole life has changed.
Well, that has to do with the power of the system. The system's so powerful.
Absolutely. There's no explanation. There's no explanation. There's no
Well,
explanation.
it's called the upright path. You are literally living and breathing the orthodox way. 正统系统. Gomaja would say that over and over again. He said, this is the imperial palace system. It is not like others. It is a high class elite. It's called mysterious transmission. It's called way of the Shengren. It's called ladder steps Bagua. It's a ladder steps. That's what you're receiving. You've been very open to it, and it's gone right in no short amount of time. And to feel like you're getting better, younger, that is the proof. So you've got your early training, even in the Hongar, you've got your early training, but then there's the practical use, which you've done for years, so you do have a repertoire. What I'm saying is that what you brought into our interaction was not just traditional kickboxing or taekwondo. You have street experience. So you do have close-in repertoires. That's what I wanted to bring up.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
But it still didn't help you.
No.
No. Why though?
Because he didn't read the situation.
No, I don't know. I don't know. You tell me what way. You know why it didn't work, so we don't know.
No, Ian, why don't you share your experience?
So what happened with Mike then, Ian? What when you had a go?
Well, I don't know. What you talk? What street fighting?
Well, yeah. When you first crossed hands with Mike, how did it feel?
He freezes you.
Oh.
And the way my mind works, I'm trying to work out how he's freezing me. I know he's got me, but how's he got me?
Wow.
Because I'm checking his route and his route's gone. So, but then he said that the open body and the power comes through the system, and it was great. Because life's for learning, and that, like you say, hopefully we can gain that when we meet at the workshop.
Wow.
But funnily enough, that transmission you gave me a few weeks later, there's a lady came, Peggy. She I do alternative stuff, and she does Tai Chi in Sicily. So I said, "Oh, my teacher did me all this," and she grabbed my arm, and I froze her.
Wow.
And she said, "That is frightening." And I said, "Wow." So I picked it up. I don't know where I picked it up, but I've done it.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
If you explain how, if I can explain, I'll do it. I've got no idea.
not surprising that you sort of copied the pattern in your
Yeah,
being.
that's all I did. I just locked into that moment and just did it. Just didn't even, as we used to say, don't think about it, man. Just do it.
You know,